This dying senior dog was seconds from being euthanized, until someone noticed her matted fur was hiding a secret. Watch till the end to find out what it was. Denise Okafor had been mopping floors at the Pinellas County Animal Shelter for 4 years, ever since her knees got too bad for retail work. And in that time, she'd learned to read a room faster than most of the vets did. So when a man came through the side door on a Thursday afternoon, carrying a dog wrapped in a bath towel, she stopped moping and just watched him for a second before he even reached the counter. He gave his name as Denny Farrow. He told the intake clerk, a young guy named Oscar who'd only been there 3 months, that the dog was old, maybe 19, and suffering, and that he wanted her put down that day. No adoption, no surrender to rescue. Just the procedure, please, as soon as possible. Oscar took the paperwork at face value, mostly because he didn't know any better yet. He'd have processed it and moved on if Denise hadn't come around the counter with her mop bucket still in hand, and asked, casual as anything, if she could take a peek at the dog before he went in the back. Denny hesitated just long enough that Denise noticed it, but he unwrapped the towel anyway, maybe because refusing outright would have looked worse. The dog underneath was small, some kind of terrier mix, buried under a solid felted mass of gray and brown fur that hadn't been brushed in what looked like a year or more. Denise couldn't see much past the matting, except 2 dark, tired eyes and a bit of pink showing at the mouth. Denny said again that she was 19, sick, suffering, and that he just wanted it done quickly and quiet. Denise didn't argue with him there at the counter. She just made a mental note of his face and let Oscar take the paperwork. He said he needed to move his truck out front. He never came back. Priscilla Ames, the shelter manager, held the surrender as pending once she heard about it, and had Denise walk the dog straight to medical rather than a holding kennel. Nobody could quite say why, except that something about an owner who vanished before the ink was dry made everyone a little uneasy. Dr. Renata Ose was on duty that afternoon, and she got to work with the clippers a little after 2. It went slow. The mats were packed so tight in places that the blade kept jamming, and she had to swap it out twice. Nobody said much while it happened, just the low buzz of the clippers and Denise's voice, quiet near the dog's ear, telling her she was doing fine. Almost there, nearly done. It took the better part of 2 hours to get down past the outer coat. It was in the last 20 minutes, working along the dog's underside, that Dr. Ose stopped and set the clippers down. "Denise," she said, "come look at this." Denise came around the table. Under the last thick shell of matted fur along the belly, the skin underneath was raw and inflamed in a row of distinct swollen lumps, cracked in places, some crusted over, running in 2 lines from the chest down toward the back legs. It took Denise a second to understand what she was looking at, and when she did, something in her chest went cold. "Those are teats," Dr. Ose said quietly. "Nursing teats, engorged, some of them infected. She's had puppies, and recently, I'd guess in the last 2 or 3 months, and nobody tended to her after. The fur just grew right over the top of it, and nobody ever looked underneath." She kept working through the last section in near silence after that. When the final shell came away completely, they could see the full extent of it, the raw, cracked skin around each teat, patches gone properly infected from neglect, the matting having sealed it all away like a lid over a wound nobody wanted to find. "She wasn't dying of old age," Dr. Ose said finally, straightening up, peeling off her gloves. "Somebody bred her, more than once probably, kept her somewhere she never got groomed or looked at by a vet, and once she wasn't useful to them anymore, they wanted this handled fast, before anybody started asking questions." Blood work came back within the hour and confirmed the rest. No kidney failure, no terminal illness. Her teeth, once properly examined, were worn, but nowhere near the wreck of a genuinely elderly dog's mouth. Dr. Osei put her age closer to 6 or 7. There was no clean paper trail after that. Denny Farrow had given a false address on the intake form, and the phone number on the file rang out to a disconnected line. Animal Control tried to follow up, but without any record of where the dog had actually been kept. And without Denny in custody, the case stalled somewhere in a filing cabinet within a few weeks. Priscilla told Denise later that this happened more than people wanted to believe, that backyard breeders sometimes dumped worn-out females at shelters this way, once they stopped producing, and that most of the time nobody was ever held to account for it. It wasn't the ending Denise wanted to hear, but she'd worked there long enough to know it was probably the true one. What mattered more immediately was that the dog, once the sedation wore off, was terrified of nearly everything. Loud noises sent her flat against the kennel floor. She wouldn't eat with anyone watching. She flinched hard if a hand came toward her head too fast, though oddly, not if it came from below, toward her side, the way you'd reach to scratch a dog's belly instead of pet its head. Denise started coming in on her days off, unpaid, just to sit near the kennel with a bag of turkey treats and no expectations attached. She didn't have much of a plan beyond that. It took 9 days before the dog would take food from her hand, instead of waiting until Denise stepped away first. Priscilla noticed, and eventually just handed Denise the foster paperwork herself, since nobody else on staff had the patience for a case like this, and the shelter genuinely didn't have room to keep working with her long-term. Denise named her Pearl, mostly because the vet tech joked that underneath all that matted mess, once it was finally gone, her coat had come in a soft, unusual silvery color nobody had expected to find under there. Pearl spent the first month of her new life mostly under Denise's kitchen table, coming out for food and occasionally to lie near Denise's feet if the television was on low. She never fully lost the flinch at raised voices. Some things don't come all the way back, and Denise stopped expecting that they would. But there was a Tuesday about 4 months in when Denise's grandson came by, 6 years old and loud in the particular way 6-year-olds are, and instead of bolting under the table, Pearl just watched him from across the room, ears back but a tail moving, just barely, low and slow along the floor. Denise didn't make a big thing of it. She just sat down on the floor near both of them and let it happen at whatever pace it wanted to happen at. Pearl still isn't the kind of dog who greets strangers at the door or does tricks for a treat. She's the kind who watches a room carefully before deciding it's safe, and who sometimes still won't finish a meal if she thinks someone's paying too much attention to her doing it. Denise has made her peace with that. She figures Pearl earned the right to take her time, trusting anybody, given what the world had shown her before this house, before this table, before somebody with a mop bucket finally stopped and asked the right question at a counter on an ordinary Thursday afternoon.